Hey everybody, it's Alan from Diabolical. Today we are going to show you how to put together your Grenadier slide floor and the drawer top assembly. So right now we've got some of the main parts out. Some of them are on a shelf just so they're out of the way of the table so we can show you a little bit easier to see it. As you can see, I do have two front to back, if you want to call them vertical dividers installed. These go in, you can choose where you want to put them in, anywhere that you want, or you can correspond them with holes that we have in the tray in the bottom of it, so that way you can add the additional strength bolts so you really don't get any rattle, and it's super rigid based on what you're putting in here and strapping down with the ability to put straps, tie downs, anything on this. So again, this is the underside. You're going to put a carriage bolt through the corresponding holes. The carriage bolt will clear the floor as you pull it in and out so they won't rub or do anything to the floor. So you're going to have these on the bottom. If you want to use the 4 preset divider holes, these are all equal distant if you wanted to use it that way. And then you're going to use the 1/4 Allen head screws to hold it in with the 1/4 inch hole in these locations. So that holds it at the top of each divider. And then you can also do the same thing. These same holes in the floor of the tray match up with if you want to put the long horizontal dividers in. You can use those also, or set it to whatever depth or height that you want it. So this is setting up the tray. It's a little bit easier to do before you attach the side frames that come installed with the slide onto it already, so it makes it a little bit easier to do the install. So what I'm going to do is we're going to come over to this side here. You'll see that we've got 4 pressed in PEM nuts in the side of the tray. What we're going to do is we're going to take the left and right side. This is the driver's side that I'm working on right here. I'm going to extend the slide all the way out. It's easy to use a table on this. Get you a couple of the 1/4 screws that go in. Those go into the matching PEM nuts. And we're going to come over to here. If you look here on where the tab is, we're going to go to the front hole is the rear attach point. So we're going to go in here first. Set it up on the tray. You'll lift it up, and all you're going to do is start it. If you find that the screw's going in difficult, take a set of scissors and kind of round out the hole in case there's an extra powder coat close to the threads. Okay, so I'm just going to basically start that one, get it in there, and then I'm just going to move down the line and match up with the corresponding hole for the next bolt to go in. Take the tension off everything as you're doing it. In loosely, I'm going to look down here to see where my next ones are. You see that you might have to adjust the slide to get to it. You can see the hole through there as this is going in. You may have to lift up on it from the back side to get it to go. And the rearward hole is a slotted one. So again, you can see that it's not matched up, so just move it till you see it. And we're going to put in the last bolt on this side. So I'm going to set that one. I'm going to tighten it up. I'm going to move back to this, tighten it all the way up, and then go to my 2 up front. Do the same thing. So those are nice and tight. So now we're going to move over to the passenger side. This is all super easy to do if you're using a table or on the floor than in the vehicle, because the side doors on a Grenadier don't open up all the way, so you won't have any room to move around. Got my 4 screws. I want to set the first one, which is in the front hole of the slide. So we're going to pull that out, push that back a little bit, get it started. Don't go all the way tight with it, because you want it to be able to move a little bit for adjustability. Let me see where that hole lines up. I got to lift that up. They can be a little bit difficult at first. I have to keep taking my glasses off because I don't need them to see close. There we go. Go about 90%. Move down to the next hole. You got to unlock the slide to where the hole lines up. Just unlock the slide. The slides are lock in and lock out, meaning when it's fully extended, it locks. When it's all the way retracted, it's locked. So that way you've got dual lock function on your slides to hold it no matter if it's all the way closed or open out on the trails and not wanting to close on itself. So now that we've got those done, what I'm going to do is push the slides, and we're going to come to the side here. So this is your slide floor put together fully. So you can actually slide this into place. Watch the other portion of our video that shows the 4 bolt holes and where they go for the main frame at the bottom. Those are going to go on. What we're going to do now is we're going to show you how to put the drawer tops together. So what we're going to do is, with it in locked position, makes it a lot easier. We're going to take 2 side frames. This is what gives you the height of the drawer. It's going to bolt to the existing side frames on the slide floor itself. This is what makes it a hybrid drawer system. So you can easily go from drawer to slide floor back to drawer, pretty much like that. So what we're going to do is, where you see a tab here, that is at the rear, because the rear is the tailgate end. So that's where the drawer plate, face plate, is going to go up against. So what we're going to do is we're going to take carriage bolts, and we're going to set them in place. You'll notice that there's a square hole on the upper part of this frame. This is where you put the carriage bolts through. If you need to open the slide, if that makes it easier to put them in, you can do that. Or you can reach through the slotted holes and put them in that way too. So we're going to go just like that. Okay, so now I'm going to grab a washer and a nut, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift this up, and I'm going to go through the corresponding holes in the bottom of the sidewall. So I'm going to get this one here. I'm going to hold that just to get it started. Put a nut and a washer. Just start it like that so it holds it. Grab another nut and a washer, and I'm going to move right down the line, starting that in. You may push your bolts out on the ones back here, but that's okay. You just have to push it back through. The carriage bolt in the square hole keeps it from spinning on the inside when you tighten these up. And these are a 7/16 socket to tighten these bolts up. So last one, get it to where it pops through. Just like that. Put a washer on. And a 7/16 nylock nut. Beauty about nylock nuts is you're just going hand tight with it. They're not torqued. So I'm just going to tighten these up nice and easy. One thing that you'll notice is on the sidewall, there is actually cut into the top an arrow. Don't know if you can zoom in and see that, but that means that's towards the back of the vehicle, towards the tailgate. So that way you know you got a left side and a right side. So let's do the other side real quick. We're going to do the same thing. Bolts, nuts, and washers. Okay. So again, I'm going to hold the bolt here. I can keep my finger on it. That way it's not pushing anything out. I'm going to put a washer on the nut, get it started just so it holds it. And then I'm going to move again down the line. I'm going to reach in and push these bolts in through the hole just so it holds them. Got my finger on it. Nut and washer. Nut and washer. Again, nut and washer. Now, one thing that I'll tell you, I'm showing you this on the tables just so it's easier. Once you get the slide floor put together, the base unit, you can stick it in and it might be easier for you so you don't have to, unless you got a second set of hands, to help lift the whole unit in like this. into the vehicle, you'll have to come up past the little latch plate over here on the side. You might have to do that. But this will slide into place real easy. It is all aluminum, but it's heavy duty aluminum and heavy duty slides. So this right here is probably about 50 pounds. So just keep that in mind as you're putting stuff together. So now this is where you can leave the sidewalls on and just remove the top panels if you want to use it as a slide to put a giant fridge in when you need to. Attach it to your outlet on the side, big gear bag, stuff like that. When you want to make it a drawer, you go ahead and put the removable top panels on for the drawer. And you can have it just in this configuration. Also with the faceplate on. The faceplate's one of the last things that we'll do here on this step is we'll go to the faceplate. So, but the next thing to do is, these are totally up to you if you want to install them. We include them. These are our tie-down rails, and these bolt to the top of the sidewall. And what that does is this allows you, when you have your top panels on, you can put other gear on top, anything, and use bungees to hold it down on the top panels. So again, it's carriage bolts, nuts and washers. So let's see, got this in a washer, so I gotta grab that. So again, in this one we're gonna put the carriage bolt again through the top. Through that first bolt. Again, nut and washer. This isn't anything difficult. If you get lost, confused, looking at something doesn't make sense to you, our contact number is on the website. You can reach out, send a text, you can call, you can send an email, and we'll get back to you right away. So now I'm going to do is tighten these all the way up. And these come in really close to the inner fender liner on the Grenadier. So you really don't have access to any of this stuff underneath. We may change this around to where we have square holes in the top here, just so the carriage bolts come inside. That might be something that we change to, but again, it doesn't change the installation of bolts and nuts and washers. Do the same thing here. Fit a carriage bolt through. Okay, so now your sidewalls are done. When the top panels go onto it, that's when we'll end up having it the same height as the floor when it's folded. So the next step is we're going to attach the faceplate. I'm going to show you. These are the main pieces to it. Are the main faceplate. This is basically a spacer. I'll show you how that goes. And this is the pull-out full width handle for the drawer that will all bolt together. So one thing I'm going to show you first is I've got one lock assembly already in. I'm going to show you how to put the lock assembly in. And what I like to do is I always like to have it to where when it's in the lock position, it's vertical. So you know that's what your cam lever is also. Here you can see that it's in the unlock position, it's horizontal. So what we want to do is we're going to take off the back screw that holds the cam lever in place. It's just a Phillips screwdriver. When you pull the cam lever off, make sure you're pushing with the key this way so the tumbler is not going to come out. Okay? So I'm going to take off the rear nut. And you're also going to make sure you don't lose the O-ring that's right there. So I'm in, if I remember right, holding it the way I did, in the unlock position. And make sure that would be lock. Okay, so just to hold that in place, I'm going to put... You may have to pop this through. It's okay. You're not going to hurt it. Again, don't lose your O-ring. Pushing this through. I want to get a couple of threads through real quick so I can put that backing nut on it to hold it still. I'm going to spin that on. And I'm going to put the cam lever on, so I'm going to have you zoom in. O-ring goes in. And then the cam lever, when you get the locks, the cam lever is usually like this, to where if you look down this way, you'll see that the cam lever is facing out. We want it facing in for the metal. So it's going to be, when it's locked, see how close it is to the metal? But we're in the unlock position, so we're going to put it back like that, down to here. Put the screw back in that holds the cam lever. And just to make sure, we're going to check that. Okay. I still need to tap this through. Don't worry, this is a tight fit. You may have to pop it with the screwdriver or a mallet. You'll be okay. Once that goes all the way in, and it's nice and flat, this is completely flush on the faceplate. Tighten that nut up. So now, that's our cam lever. So, unlock, lock, unlock, lock. So we're going to leave it in the unlock position right now. We're going to move around to this side of the table. I'm going to set this up here for right now. Okay, so this spacer bar, again, spacer plate, is going to go in right here, and it allows for where you have your screws for your dividers, so that's not holding this off. This kind of fills it right there. So what we're going to do, it's where it's helpful to have a couple of hands, but we're going to put a bolt in there, and then line up the first hole, because nobody's going to put a divider in the first hole on both ends. So that is our main first attach point. So I'm going to go in just like that, and I'm going to take a washer and a nut and put that on the back side. So I can move down to this end and do the exact same thing. And then move to your two middle locations and do the same. So, oh, got ahead of myself. We got to put the handle on. Arg. So, you see how the divider goes, and this, or the divider and how the spacer bar goes into it. So, I'm going to show you how to do this with one hand. We'll leave that in so they're held in place. And we're just going to grab this. And I'm going to put that back through. So I'm going to do a washer and a nut. I may have to take off the washer for the length of the bolt, but I'm going to slowly take this one out in the middle. Oh. This is where I got to pull all the middle ones out. That's okay. And put my leg under it and pop this one out. And get that in. So I'm going to put just a nut on this side because it's going to be nice and snug, and the thread's coming right up to the edge of just the nut itself without a washer. So put that on. Same thing. A washer from earlier. Pull this washer off. This will be switched out to 1-inch long bolts for these, so that way you can have threads coming all the way through, and then also a washer on the backside. So this, you can reach in, push this all the way in. Sorry, it's hitting the table. But this way you can push down to unlock the locking slides, and a couple of fingers underneath your pull bar to pull out. Now, if you notice, this has got a 90-degree lip right here. The reason for that is the rear bend on the removable panels are going to sit on top of that when it's closed, giving extra rigidity. So what we're going to do is we're going to set this in place. You see how it's got PEM studs. This comes to you already with this L-beam stiffeners attached and the PEM studs pressed in. These PEM studs go right into these slots right there. So when they drop in, get my arm out of the way, just like that. And again, if this is in your vehicle, it's bolted down. So see how this comes in right even flush with the top? That's where we want that, okay? So what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna take a piece of tape and I'm gonna mark where this is in line with, see how there's a divider here on the side wall? That's so the forward panel drops down in. And we're going to put the forward panel in first because it's easier to reach in and put the locking tabs down in. So I'm marking where the rear bend is for the rear panel. So that way I set my forward panel first at that forward attach point. So I'm going to pull this off for right now. I'm going to grab my rear panel. You can see this panel is the same thing, stiffeners in it, and then it's also got a tall vertical bend, so this keeps people from putting your, trying to break in and getting in from your rear seats. They can't reach in. If you look back here, you can't get your hand in here from the front side. So what we're going to do is we're going to set these in place. I got to find the spin knob. Or these right here. These go on the corresponding PEM studs. And I also give a washer too, just so it's easier to tighten it up onto the washer. So I'm just going to grab it like this, reach underneath, find my PEM stud. I don't know if you can see in here. I'll put that in there where it just started. And you can spin it with your thumb. Now get it a little bit snug just so I can have it sitting in a set spot. I'm going to come over here. This again is easier to do by putting this forward panel on first. So I'm going to see where my lineup is here. So it allows me to set that rear panel perfectly over the drawer top here. So I'm going to move that back to about right there. I'm going to tighten this up. And also with this top off here, it makes it easier to reach in and get this forward PEM stud. So this is in place now. Make sure it's all nice and snug and tight. I'm going to grab my rear panel and I'm going to drop it into place. Just like that. And I'm going to open the drawer. Remember, it's double lock in, lock out. So I'm going to move this back a little bit. That way I can reach in with the drawer open and put these last 4 spin knobs in place. Now we're going to come out with our own line of EVA foam mats to peel and stick over the top of this. If you want, there's other options out there. There's stuff that you can pick up from Home Depot or Lowe's in a rubber mat. You just have to cut it to fit or leave it loose. It's up to you. But, it's optional. It's not something you have to get from us. I'm a huge fan of EVA foam for the 3M quality heat dissipation, so it doesn't get hot in direct sunlight. It gives great insulation at the same time, noise, and then also non-slip. And then one of the last things that we have on here is we've got a, I'm showing you a smaller piece of it. This is our new edge seal. It actually has metal pieces inside it. You can run that the whole length, side to side, so it's all the way connected to here. So that way when you close your drawer up, that goes under it, and that is a push down hard point on it. And then locked. And locked. So now there's your complete drawer system This is, again, the hybrid drawer system from Diabolical Ink. We call it our slide floor and drawer top assembly. So there's two different items when you're ordering. If you want just a slide floor because you're going to carry a big fridge, you know what you're carrying already, coolers, that kind of stuff. You want the available height, that's the slide floor. If you want a full lockable drawer, so even if somebody breaks completely into the vehicle, they're not being able to break into this because it is a locked unit. This is adding into the slide floor system, is adding the drawer top assembly. And that gets you your faceplate, your drawer top panels, your sidewalls, your tie-down rails, and everything associated with it. And again, at this height off the floor, when you lay your seats down, this is perfectly flat all the way up to the front seats. So again, I'm Alan from Diabolical Ink. This is the INEOS Grenadier drawer system.